morning and welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. So today we are continuing our book review series on Andrzej Sapowski's Witcher series, but today we're talking about Baptism of Fire. So this will be my last Witcher book for a little bit. We're going to take a bit of a break from The Witcher, move on to a few other books before coming back to The Witcher. So this is The Witcher Book 3. So as the title kind of suggests, Baptism of Fire is the idea that we have to go through this intense trial to kind of purge us and hopefully come out stronger on the other end of the whole situation, the whole scenario. So essentially, we've got Geralt of Rivia. He is on the hunt for Ciri. He is trying to find her, and nobody really knows where she is. There are rumors about whether or not she's going to become the queen consort to the Emperor of Nilfgaard, or whether or not she's even alive, or whether or not she's dead. Nobody really knows, but Geralt is certainly determined to find Ciri. So of course he's on this trek to go and rescue and save her from whatever woes she might have come across. So we've kind of followed the two storylines between Geralt of Rivia and Ciri and what happens to her and where she's gone, with a little bit of what happened to Yennefer as well, as far as where she's at, but she kind of plays kind of a third role in the whole storyline, not really a big part of this particular book itself. So of course, like typical Witcher, there is adventure from start to finish, as far as the whole book goes. One thing I'm kind of finding interesting about the writing style, and I haven't decided whether I actually like it or not, is there's those moments where you have characters that are together, and sometimes the author will kind of go and give a quick little thought about what the character's thinking, usually by changing the font slightly to kind of indicate this is a character thought that's happening at the moment. Well, there's these sections in here where that happens, and honestly, I find them long for that type of thing to be happening within the book. Now, many authors do this, but usually they're like quick little 1 or maybe 2 sentence thoughts that the author is putting in there as far as what the character is thinking. But in this book, in this writing style, there seems to be these segments where there could be multiple paragraphs about what the character is thinking, as opposed to these quick little thoughts that are happening within the minds of these individual characters. So I'm not sure if that's a writing style that I like or don't like. Haven't decided yet, but what I have decided is I definitely do like the Witcher book series. That is something that is quite enjoyable for me thus far. One of the other things about this that I really liked is this character is put in, not even a human character, it's a bird, Sergeant Field Marshal Windbag. Definitely there for comic relief. It's this talking bird that quips sometimes. These funny little comments are interspersed here and there. It's kind of a funny little character that was thrown in there, and I'm kind of enjoying the little quippiness of that. And with respect to some other aspects here, Yennefer, Geralt, and Ciri seem to kind of be the oddest little family you'll ever see. Both Geralt and Yennefer have basically adopted Ciri as their adoptive daughter at this point, and they're this odd little family. It's like they're a divorced couple that's not really divorced but still together, off in their own little worlds, often very much separated from each other. And Ciri seems to be bouncing back and forth between the two, and yet Geralt and Yennefer aren't really separated. They're kind of a couple still, but not a couple. Who knows what their situation is? They're kind of a really odd little family that's built up amongst these three. So it's really interesting to kind of see how that's going to play out down the line in future books. Now, with respect to drawbacks, there is one thing I didn't really like about this book, and I have to emphasize this has nothing to do with my personal opinion on this subject matter at all. It's not what this channel's about, and I'm sure as heck not interested in opening up any kind of debate on it. But there's one point in the book where Andrzej Sapowski brings up the subject of abortion, and now I expect political ideology philosophical positions to be inherent in an author's writing, but I never assume that that is in fact the author's official position on any one particular subject matter. But with the way it was brought up, it was basically brought up as a statement of a position and left at that. There was no argument one way or another between the characters about whether that was the right position, wrong position, whether it was good, whether it was bad. And I just, personally, I don't really like that style of writing myself when it comes to philosophical or political positions. I think when you're writing a fantasy or fictional work, if you're going to bring up these positions, if you're going to bring up these particular issues, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I think it really helps to kind of using those particular issues as part of a greater plot point, and using that as part of the discussion or debate between the characters involved. Those are really the better way to go about it. But it was just like a blanket statement. There was no argument between characters, and each of the character basically affirmed the position or remained neutral with absolutely no debate. So it was really kind of seemed like it was thrown in there to say, hey, this is what I think, and this is the way it is. Even my characters agree, which I thought was kind of a bad way to do it, I guess, is the best way to think of it. It just didn't work well, and I thought that could have been done better, or even left out, really. It's a work of fiction. Let's have this as part of a greater plot point. Let's maybe use this idea or this position to expand upon a greater storyline within the series or something like that. But definitely, I just didn't think it worked well. And I think I can make that argument for any philosophical or political position. If you're going to be writing a fictional piece of work, don't just put blanket statements of philosophical or political positions in there and leave it at that. Like, use that as part of a greater aspect to the story, and I think that would be far better than just making blanket statements like it was done within this book. So those are just some of my thoughts on Baptism of Fire specifically. So of course, stay tuned, because I am going to finish up the Witcher series. Overall, I am enjoying it. And for now, though, I am going to be moving on to some different books in the meantime, just a couple different reads before jumping right back into The Witcher. But until then, stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you next time on the next episode of Drew's Book Reviews. Until then, keep on reading. Bye.